I think one of the questions everybody's been getting lately since October 11th, and even before then, is are you going to get a PlayStation VR? Now, unlike some other people, I don't. I mean, my finances, honestly, could grant me access to a PlayStation VR, no problem. But there are certain times and moments right now that don't allow me to do it. Now, like everybody, I'm not someone that's going to jump up and get a PlayStation VR. I will eventually. Don't get me wrong about that. But I think what Joe Vargas said in his review of it is it's a good system. It's affordable. You know, the only thing I think is down is the little bit down on is it's not as graphically enhanced, I guess you could say, as the other two VR sets, that are out. But I don't think it has to be. I will agree with that. But yeah, I do plan to get a PlayStation VR down the line, just not right off the bat. If I look at it from any perspective, I look at it as an early Christmas gift to myself, probably starting around December. Because come November, people are going to be buying these things left and right, laying them away, you name it. It's going to be the number one Christmas gift along with the NES Classic this holiday season. We all know that. But I think what holds it back a little bit and holds me back and anybody else back from getting it is the fact that the games are very limited. I mean, I didn't see his 48-minute review yet on it. But Joe basically said that some of these games, and even I looked at them online on Amazon, some of these games go for about $20, $5. They're not that expensive. I mean, I think some of them, because even though he basically said they're kind of like demos, the way they've been shipped out, they've been developed. Some of them that reach up to $60 might be close to a complete game, basically not a demo. But you see, there's more to this PlayStation VR. Now, like I said, yes, I'll probably get one because one of the things a lot of other people have talked about, I think Forbes has talked about it, CNET has talked about it, is the fact that you could do more with this than you expect. I think they said along the lines that you could connect it and you could somehow be able to use it on an Xbox One and on a Wii U. The only problem is game-wise, that's not possible, but app-wise, like with Netflix and Hulu and YouTube, you'll be able to see it from the VR. In other words, they said it's kind of, according to one article, it's kind of the equivalent of having a big projector on your wall, except you're watching it from the VR. So that's pretty cool. And the same goes for movies. So basically, this VR set by PlayStation totally immerses you into whatever application you're using or movie you're watching. So that's pretty cool. Visually, it immerses you. Headphone-wise, I do agree you got to get one of those better ones. If I get a PlayStation VR, and I will down the line, I'm going to get myself one of the headsets. It may cost a lot, but it's going to be a headset that's 7.1 surround or something like that down the line so I can listen to stuff on the go. I mean, listen to stuff as I'm sitting down. One thing my mom always complains about is I'm never in the living room when we're eating dinner. Well, guess what? She might get her wish if I get this son of a gun. Because I'll sit in the living room and I'll probably be watching my movie while she watches hers. And we can still discuss. We can still talk. And I'm sure she might get a kick out of the PlayStation VR if she tests it because it might be something she'll enjoy. And when you think about it, if you got Skype and all that, it's a good way to really do your video calling through Skype or Facebook. So I like that possibility. But to me, the PlayStation VR, I will agree with Joe Vargas on one thing. We are in basically the beginning stages of this new evolution of gaming. You got, what was it, the Oculus, the Vive, two more, basically more expensive. The way I look at it with the PlayStation VR is, yeah, it's basically cheaper by depending on what you get. If you just get the VR, it's cheaper by $200, $300. You get the bundle, it's cheaper by $100, $200. Okay, fine. To me, it's like Joe. To me, for me, I do agree with Joe. This is the beginning stages. We are in a beginning stage of the PlayStation VR, and if any virtual console, really. I mean, I know you're thinking, well, we were kind of in this area, weren't we? Were we in this area before? Yeah, but that was like 20-something years ago. And I'll give Nintendo credit for trying to start it out. It just didn't work. Because what the PlayStation VR does, and I'm sure the other ones do as well, is they allow you to immerse yourself into the environment. You're not using a controller unless you want to, because I think that's optional. But you're mostly using yourself. You're using either your hands or what's given to you, and that is the PlayStation Move controllers. So yeah, eventually I am going to get a PlayStation VR. It just takes time. When it's going to happen, where it's going to happen, well, hopefully it'll happen before this year's out as an early Christmas gift to myself with my bonus check. So that's going to work in the long run. So overall, when I look at this PlayStation VR and I look at the potential that it has, yeah, I believe it's going to be, along with the Nintendo Classic this year and all that, I believe it's going to be a top seller. There's no doubt about it. But I also believe it's even though it's cheaper, even though, according to other Joe Vargas' friend, that graphically it's not on par, barely on par with the Vive or the Oculus, and that even though it may feel like it's made out of cheap plastic or something like that, I don't know. It's basically said it's sturdy and everything, but it's kind of like, made out of plastic that could be breakable. I don't know. Basically, they said the way it was built is kind of, plastically, kind of cheaply, but it's sturdy, it's strong, it's durable, so that's good. But even despite all that, it is probably going to be the most successful, in my opinion, of all the virtual headsets out right now. Not only because of its lower price range, but because of the fact that no one is going to want to go out, get an Oculus, get a Vive, and go through all the crap they have to go through with some of it. Now, one thing I don't know if it was the Oculus or the Vive, they said had the advantage of less wires. Now, I will admit that is a problematic deal, because basically you're going to have to go HDMI once again. For me, that's not a problem, because I got it set up to the point that when I go HDMI, I just got to switch it out. That's it. But again, I think the strong point for the PlayStation VR is the fact that it's compatible, because it has a USB port. So it is compatible with PC. Surprisingly, according to reports, it's compatible with Wii U and Xbox One. And I think its strong point is not just going to be its games, but it's going to be the fact that when you have that capability, that compatibility, even though no one probably thought that would happen when this PlayStation VR first got thought of, when you have that capability, when you have that compatibility, I should say, that will work in its favor, because people will just want to buy it for the freaking apps. That's it. We all know that. That's going to be a strong point, because if you, like I said, if anything's going to make it a strong selling point, it's going to be the fact that it's compatible with other systems, just not on a game perspective, more on an app, movie perspective. I mean, it's even compatible, I think, with the TV or even your Blu-ray player or something like that. So you could watch your movies on your freaking VR set. Get your headphones in, boom, you're good to go. So, to me, that's going to work in its favor. And I think everybody listening knows that. The games might be good. I mean, you got several games that Joe said is pretty good, like mech games where you go into a mech suit, or flight games, space games. Those are all great. And they'll probably give you that full, that virtual experience of really being there. But my thought is this. Those are potentially good games, but its strong selling point, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be its universal compatibility with other systems, PCs, and even your Blu-ray player, DVD player, and TV. That's going to be its strong suit. Game-wise, it's definitely going to improve in that perspective, because you got a lot of third-party games that could potentially work with this. You got third-party games. I mean, you got a Batman VR game that is out that's going to be a good seller, because you get to be Batman in that game. And there's potentially other games on the horizon that are going to be both PlayStation and PlayStation VR exclusive games. In other words, they've even noted this too when they started talking about it. The PlayStation VR games, well, basically games won't be just exclusive to the VR. You'll have games that have both options. You'll have games that are for both options. You'll have a game where you'll be able to play it from a virtual perspective as if you're really there, as well as play it normally with the regular controller and no VR set. So there are games like that that are going to be compatible both ways. Obviously, they're going to give you an option, hopefully, by selling just one game. Because I think that would be the best benefit for them, is to sell one game and give you the option in the game to either go VR or be standard gaming. That's the way I look at it. The only reason they're doing a double disc or a dual game kind of situation, two individual game situations for Final Fantasy, is to really get you immersed. Is to test out what it will look like if they decide to take Final Fantasy in that direction, and also give you the traditional gaming perspective that you're used to. So those are just my thoughts on the PlayStation VR. I mean, I hear it's selling well, and I'm probably going to get one down the line. I just don't know when. Hopefully, it's going to be before this year's out. And really, that's all I have to say about it. So those are my thoughts on the PlayStation VR. Let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll talk to y'all later.